community of adults who always wanted to lead us and guide us. There were people in your family, there were people in church, there were people in the community that always had things for you to do, like in working in campaigns. People would give you jobs and tell you, do this, and this will help you do that. I don't think that you guys have that anymore as much as we did. Our family situations were very different, where you always had to answer to somebody, and in answering to somebody, you tried to do your best because you didn't want to look stupid. You didn't want to look like you couldn't do things. And I think we had more freedom to do things than you guys do. I think you guys are free to do what you want to do, like you want to do it, because nobody's going to tell you not to. Mm-hmm. But we had a lot more things to do. Freedom things like, just for instance, driving cars. Okay? Gas was cheap. I got my first car when I was 16. And with a car, I had mobility to go here and go there. And I don't see you guys doing the kinds of things. We would have rallies with other schools. It's a lot different. A lot different. We didn't fight as much in that sense. So it wasn't anything for me to go to another school and participate in what they were doing. We got along a little better, I think.
The students paid attention in class as compared to now, where they don't. Because there was no distractions they had now. There's no cell phones. There was no small music machines. There was no cell phones. There was no digital cameras. So there's no distractions. So they focused on class.
I mean, you have to consider I'm only 26, so I didn't graduate that long ago. 2003 may seem like a long time ago from 2012, but it's only a decade, you know. The biggest thing that I think every teacher in every generation has to recognize is that the technology boom just keeps getting faster and faster and faster ahead of us. So back in my day, when kids were still learning computers, and you had kids that grew up with computers versus teachers that did not, at least, you know, coming into it now, when I see kids with cell phones and smartphones and stuff in my classroom, I at least have somewhat of a background in computers. But that's the biggest thing, is that us as teachers, we have such a huge pressure to get technology into the classrooms, and the students are already immersed in it, because they have the smartphone, they have the iPod. Any given day, a kid is usually bringing like 2 to 3 pieces of technology to class with them. You know, so I think that there's an immediacy in that culture, and I don't think it's just youth as a whole, but I think it's all of American culture, where things are getting more and more immediate. People are getting used to having things just instantly at their fingertips, which kind of makes interpersonal communication a little bit more difficult than how I grew up. Because you know, I think every generation says this about the generation that comes forward, is that, you know, things were a little bit slower. You know, and it just seems like things that are going faster and faster and faster as the world gets more and more technologically advanced. Could be just getting part of growing up and getting old and generation disconnect, or it could be a fact. You know, I'm not really sure.
There's just a lot less respect between young kids and adults now than when I was in high school. I know I never had a problem with an adult in high school, and if I did, it never would come to me swearing or cussing or lashing out, and now I see that happening a lot more. There's a lot less compassion, and I don't know if that's because parents are less involved, or if you know, students' lives are different now, but I think the biggest difference is just a lack of respect.
It's much less challenging now. They've really proven fact, with research you can find this out. They've dummied down the curriculum. Less is required. You guys have different requirements, like more math and science than used to be, but it's sad because it's hard to see kids really embrace the fact that they're in charge. You know, you could have the best teacher in the world, but if you're not embracing your education, you're not going to put your effort forward. And education is really based on students wanting to succeed.
Well, it was very strict. So, you know, if you got pregnant, you were kicked out. And that was a big problem. Also, if you were gay, you were kicked out. Or if you were bisexual, you were kicked out. So that never affected me personally, but I had friends who really struggled with that. Basically, if you disagreed with anything they said, you were kicked out. So I had a lot of friends who transferred out of the school because of that.
Was that hard for you?
Yeah, it was. By my senior year, I didn't really have any friends there. Pretty much all my friends went to public school or they were graduated.
What do you think it's like nowadays in high school? How does that view from when you were in school to seeing all the kids now in high school?
Well, I mean, it depends on what school you go to. That school is still like that today. And I'm student taught in a school west of here that's very much like that as well. Very conservative. If you disagree with them, I think you would probably get in trouble. So it's kind of interesting to teach here now because you guys have a lot more freedom in, you know, the way you dress and how you can express yourself. So I think that can be a good thing, but also it's good to have a little structure in your life too.
Yeah.